all he was to you? This.
I will still help you. But
His daughter, use her as leverage to
Alice team around a girl. They have them pinned in the...
I won't see her until you give me the name and location. Think of doing exactly the same thing.
That you're a human being and you're gonna do the right.
Sorry.
This is England. And home is Canterbury. Stand in here. Run. Go.
0 minute, 44.6. Vidéosurveillance de Canterbury.
Entendu.
Reconnaissance faciale, c'est des conneries, on a mieux que ça.
On sait qu'elle est là.
Ah oui, tiens,
On la perd là, la 11.
Do you mind if I borrow your cell phone? I'll just be a sec.
this. We got frick.
me. Eat a bag of
Fucking enough.
That one will do.
God.
They are. Give them a fucking minute.
Oh, really?
It's back of a jump.
Jump them.
To buy everything she's been through. You would what? All the way from Guildford to up. Just gave me the answer.
God bless you.
Okay, the British have come through.
48 hours to get the name of that ship.
Je peux la trouver.
They'll either think we're getting a train north or a train west. Go fast and stay together.
Allô?
Welcome home, miss.
He's the kind of spy that is rich. Landing new identities for people.
This week marks the finale of FX's spy thriller series The Veil, which has several significant discoveries in an exciting but rather unconvincing 6th episode. Yasmina, Adila's daughter, had already been freed from Paris by Imogen, who wished to bring the child back to her mother in exchange for Adila disclosing the identity of the ship that was transporting the bomb to America. Conversely, the Jinn of Al-Raqqa, their primary objective, is promptly targeted by the French and American agencies, the DGSE and the CIA, respectively, who once again turn into fugitives with the assistance of the MI6 operative. Overall, despite the fact that we saw very little of it, The Veil has been hinting at a very personal plot to take center stage. In the end, Imogen's personal history does win out. Following Yasmina's safe relocation to the UK by the MI6 agent, Adila El Idrisi was given one more opportunity by the show's heroine, Imogen Salter, to collaborate with her and strive for a reunion with her little daughter. Proven to be an ISIS agent, dubbed the Jinn of Al-Raqqa for her ability to blend into any narrative and persuade others, Adila's want to be with her daughter outweighed any plan to exact revenge on the West. In order to stay out of problems with the intelligence services and her own terrorist team, she ultimately decides to be with Imogen. The truck, which is presently somewhere around Canterbury, has crossed the border from France into England, and the two women are spotted inside its storage compartment for protection. He had consented to sneak the two into England after Imogen had falsely promised him certain physical favors, and once they were in the nation, she soon brought him down. However, by now, word had also gotten out about Imogen going rogue with the perilous Adila by her side, and the two women were promptly in hot water with the local police department. Before the main character can utilize her own cunning and persuasive abilities to get a ride to London, Imogen and Adila part ways in the town of Canterbury. Since she currently knows that no one would be willing to assist Adila, Imogen contacts the only person she knows who would be prepared to take a chance and aid Adila. She just so happens to know someone who, although having started out as an intelligence agency operative, is not directly under the control of MI6 or any other government agency. It turns out that this person is Michael Althorpe, a man Imogen used to be quite close to. In addition, although she was keeping Adila safe in Michael's Paris flat, she had been staying there when their amorous history was first mentioned. However, Imogen responded to Adila's questions about him by saying that Michael was only her father's pupil and later on, he also became her instructor. Right now, Imogen contacts Michael to let him know about Adila and the predicament she finds herself in. Imogen really wants the mother and daughter to be reunited, even if she is officially trying to use Adila as leverage to get the name of the ship carrying the explosives. This may be the reason Imogen is such a skilled spy. She is the story's heroine because of her capacity to negotiate arrangements for both parties, so that she and the French woman may go to Canada, where Yasmina and her aunt Noor would also be transported. She asks Michael to set up fictitious passports for them. The idea is for Adila and her family to go to Canada, where they will be able to stay away from all of the law enforcement and other groups who are searching for them. However, Imogen soon learns that Michael does not intend to let Adila to leave the country, even though they had agreed to the plan over the phone. Thus the plan is not carried out to a satisfactory degree. Even though Michael Althorpe first appears in person in The Veil episode 6, his influence and dominance over the protagonist's life were already evident in previous episodes. Imogen was first introduced in the series as someone who was frequently troubled by a particular memory of being uncomfortable with a guy who was much older than her, even though she was unable to articulate it. It is now established that this man was Michael, her father Marcus Seabright's most beloved pupil. Marcus was appointed as the younger man's mentor since he was an experienced MI6 agent and Michael appeared to have recently joined the organization. The two became close. Though it's unclear if Imogen and Michael met at this exact moment, it's likely that they did so after Marcus passed away. Imogen, having lost all parental guidance, was placed in Michael Althorpe's care, notwithstanding the latter's disappearance from the public eye at this period. As the heir to a prosperous aristocratic family, he acquired a magnificent home in the English countryside, where he lived in seclusion for the remainder of his life. Additionally, Michael had a strong relationship with Imogen. Basically, she was his pupil and protege at this particular residence. Marcus began teaching and shaping Imogen to be as cunning as him, just as he had helped Michael become a great spy. But gradually, this instruction transformed into sexual grooming, as the guy practically trained Imogen, a much younger woman than himself, to accept his advances. Imogen knew that something was wrong and that she did not feel comfortable in the setting, but she was powerless to change it. Michael tried to exert his influence over her even now, having been trained to become his object of desire to manipulate any time he pleased. It is probable that Imogen became pregnant with Michael's kid at that time, and she even gave birth to the child, even if the series does not explicitly state this. But as Michael was still leading a very secretive life, the baby's existence would have presented a great challenge to him, and he most likely managed to get rid of it. Everyone agreed that the baby had died naturally, even if he may not have done anything overt that would have forced Imogen to confront him. Imogen still grieves about not being able to have a child, though, and for this reason she supports Adila in order to allow her to spend time with her daughter. Despite having avoided Michael throughout her life, Imogen now goes back to the exact home and surroundings of her abuser, only this time she helps Adila make it out alive. Photographs of Imogen, Adila, and the DGSE and CIA operatives are found in Michael's personal office in his expansive estate, along with notes on all the events pertaining to them. This indicated that Michael had been closely monitoring the particular mission, which at first glance appeared to be of personal significance to him. But Imogen also discovers some torn pieces of paper on the ground that appear to have been thrown out hastily. The papers are in Russian and mention the Jinn of al-Raqqa. A copy of the Kitab al-Bulhan, which contains quotes from the many jinns symbolizing the 7 days of the week, is also included in his files. Ultimately, it is evident that Michael had a significant role in the planning of the entire terrorist act. Imogen confronts the guy about the same issue, and he does not refute his involvement either. It is then that Imogen learns that the terrorist assault was actually FSB planned. The Russian Federal Security Service, FSB, desired to exact revenge on its long-standing adversaries in the United States of America, but they also desired to shift the blame. This was the reason behind the reactivation of the ISIS sleeper cell and the preparation of a biological strike using a radioactive bomb, both of which were funded by Russia. However, the FSB required outside assistance in this area, and that's where Michael Althorpe stepped in, as an ex-MI6 agent with a great deal of authority and influence. Like his own mentor and advisor Marcus Seabright, Michael was a double agent who collaborated closely with the Russian Federal Security Service. Michael also discusses why he thinks the world is going toward tremendous bloodshed and catastrophe, which is the reason he supports this planned terrorist operation. In the event that the planned bombing on the US East Coast goes through, the nation would undoubtedly strike ISIS and invade nations where the terrorist group is in control as payback. Russia would then have the opportunity to strike its own adversaries, leading to international conflict. Since the existing state is certain to collapse very soon, Michael and those who share his beliefs think that the complete chaos and destruction will aid in the establishment of a new global order and a fresh start for humanity. Additionally, it is implied that Michael has deeply bigoted views against Arabs and Muslims in general, especially Patrick, his dependable driver and go-to guy. The DGSE and CIA operatives, Malik Ammar and Max Peterson, respectively, arrive to the same property in London, where Imogen used to reside, as Imogen is discovering all these secrets in Michael's house. Malik spent a few romantic days with her here after meeting her, but he can't seem to discover anything helpful there. Malik says he knows where the ladies would be, so the two agents decide to cooperate when Peterson shows up to investigate the same area. After all, Imogen had told Malik everything about her life and her background because she was really in love with him. With this information in hand, he determines that she had to have gone to Michael's mansion to ask for assistance. Ultimately, the women get an advantage from their stay in the house when Malik murders Michael before he can hurt Imogen. Conversely, Max manages to spare Adila from being killed by the racist Patrick. In the last moments, Imogen approaches the brink of forcibly removing Adila from the house, but in a sudden turn of events, Patrick uses his sniper rifle to kill Adila before Imogen can intervene. It was clear that the driver's boss had given him orders to make sure Adila kept quiet about the ship carrying the bomb, and the only way to do this was to eliminate Adila completely. Adila had penned the ship's name on the car's misty glass, much to the relief of Imogen and the rest of the Western world, as she had been afraid she would not make it out in time. Adila's character is also saved by her move, since she decides to prevent the terrorist attack even though she was initially going to use her phone to explode the bomb, the final stage in the plot. Imogen and Malik flee the gunfight and promptly report the ship's information to the police. The operatives then attack the ship and murder Emir as he attempts to detonate the bomb, which is evidently unsuccessful because Adila had not completed her portion of the plot. As a result, neither the ship nor any direct casualties result from this botched terrorist assault plot. Even though Adila loses her life in the process, Imogen honors her pledge and makes sure Yasmina and Noor go safely to Canada, where they will make their permanent home. In the epilogue of The Veil, Imogen reads through Michael's files once again and keeps seeing the same name, Sebastian Illyria, who resides close to Oxfordshire. She walks over to the address out of fear of being caught in the open, but before she gets near enough, she witnesses someone drive off. Even nevertheless, Imogen makes the decision to look through the belongings in the house and discovers letters and pictures of her and her father there. She comes to understand that her father had been alive for the whole time and had only remained concealed from the public due to the blowing of his double agent cover. Since the two were still in contact in the English countryside, Michael also went into hiding following Marcus' purported death. But since Marcus Seabright was still employed by the FSB, Imogen also realizes that her father, Marcus Seabright, had to have been the mastermind behind the staged terrorist assault. He must have gotten in contact with the ISIS cell and coerced Adila into doing the task in exchange for her release from the terrorist group. This implies that if The Veil ever makes a comeback for a second season, we may just witness Imogen, or Violet, as her true name is revealed, pursuing her own father, as their goals and philosophies are quite different. As The Veil Season 1 comes to a close, the lead character receives a call from her MI6 superiors once more and is promptly tasked with taking on a new investigation, this time in Greece.